Welcome to another episode of Failing to Success. Today on the show, I have my good friend Ignacio Carcavallo. So he actually created the Groupon of Argentina, and he has a hell of a story to share with us today. So Nacho, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Chad. I'm super grateful to have this space to chat with you.
Yeah, definitely. It's so tell our audience about you creating Groupon in Argentina and how it brought you here to the US.
Yes. So actually, Groupon was it was May 2010. Actual Groupon had just landed in Argentina, and I was contacted by some Switzerland and Germany investors, ex Skype and Facebook early investors like big shots, and they wanted to create the largest Groupon competitor in all over the world. So basically, what they do is they see what's working in the US, and they replicate. They do a lot of R&D, which R&D stands for rip off and duplicate, not research and development. And they duplicate that business model all around the world. They put a huge investment in every country, and they try to replicate it. So we were replicating Groupon in Argentina. Our brand was ClickOn, actually in the whole Latin America, but I was focused and based in Argentina. And over 9 years, we bought out all of the local competitors except of Groupon. So basically, it ended up being Groupon, the international, huge worldwide company, and us being the largest Argentinian competitor with almost 9 brands below our umbrella.
So when you exited that company, what year was that?
2019.
And then did you move over to the US right away?
Oh, so the story goes that it was 2018. We had just had 18 was one of our best. 17 was one of our best years. 16 was our worst year. We were doing $10 million a year in revenues. We had 145 employees. That's $10 million in Argentina is like $50 million in the US because of the exchange rate. And imagine like it's a country of 45 million population. So it's a way smaller country. So it's huge to have a $10 million company, especially an e-commerce company back in 2010. And we're huge, amazing deal. In 2015, we bought out most of the local competitors, one from the largest newspaper, the #1 newspaper in Argentina. So it was a huge accomplishment for us. So we grew from 80 employees to 145. And then 2016, after we had bought all the competitors, starting to integrate the 3 cultures, etc., we had a problem with the IPs, Hotmail IPs and Gmail IPs, email newsletter, because it's a company that needed a lot of newsletter marketing. And we lost almost 50% of revenues, like almost overnight, with something that it was very difficult to solve in the short term because some IPs got banned because the policy changed. And we relied a lot in email marketing, and we had almost 2 million users. So it's not easy to shift and change. We had to downsize from 145 to 45 people, so 100 people. It was the worst year for our lives, my co-founder and I. And next year, because the typical story, we had to cut 100 people. We just remained with the 45 most core employees. And then the next year was the best year ever because we were extremely lean, fast, agile, dynamic, only the people that were absolutely aligned with the company's goals and the company's values, stayed, and we rode a lot, and we were able to get out. But what we didn't see is that the macroeconomy of Argentina was really, really bad and was going worse. And we didn't know that the next years were going to be extremely worse. So we were at 40% inflation per year. Nowadays, it's 110%. So you see the progression. Back in 2017, the dollar exchange rate with the peso was 20. Today is 500. So get some context of how crazy it was. And we had a really bad combination that we were huge in Argentina, but we were only in Argentina because we didn't see, it was already too late to start replicating the business model around the world because it was already infested. Every country had like 10 competitors. So we had all our revenues in pesos, but we had some costs, international costs in dollars, like servers, email marketing. So we had a bad configuration when the dollar started going up because we had costs that were going up and revenues that in dollars were going down. So it's like the worst scenario. And we were talking with my co-founder, I think you know Leandro, and we said, okay, this is time to delegate to our C-level managers so they can run the company and we can find inspiration to start something different, a new company, because we see that we're not going to be able to grow that much this company, so we can maintain it. And I went to travel around the world to find inspiration for a new project. 8 months around, twice around the world. That's when we started Treevotion. It's a bracelet company. Each bracelet plants between 2 to 20 trees in the most needed areas of the world. Why I started this while I was in India, developing Buddhism and my spirituality. And it was amazing because in the first year, 2019, we sold in 60 countries. So we were really thriving, and it was completely bootstrapped without an external investment. So that's when we saw, and Argentina was doing really bad. So 19, we decided to sell the company and say, okay, it's been 9 years. We sold in total $65 million over those 9 years. So it was like, this is a great experience. It's time to leave it to the next founder to develop it. So we sold the company in 19. I moved to Bali, Indonesia, to be closer to the artisans, women artisans. We were helping them to get out of their houses and be close to the plantation sites in Borneo, the island of Borneo, where the trees are being devastated by the palm oil industry. We were shooting a documentary with my fiance about afforestation. And so Treevotion, new company, was thriving. We sold in 60 countries, almost $1 million per the first year. We had sold the last company, so done. And then we're living in Bali in March 2020. Something happened that we all know, and COVID hit. Pandemic started, so there was no demand for planting trees, especially for retail, because it was a survival economy. And I think that we're still kind of in a survival economy. So we decided to go back to Argentina to be closer to our parents, because March 2020 we didn't know what COVID was, if it was like the next Ebola or COVID, and that's it. And while we were stuck with Jade, my fiance, in our studio apartment in Buenos Aires, it was 500 square meters without any divisions for 8 months or 7 months. One of the worst quarantines in the world, the Argentinian one. We couldn't get out of the house even to practice any sport or anything. So we were stuck. And the only thing that kept us, I won't say like alive, but motivated, was what's the next step? What's the next step? And we always wanted to, we knew that like the end game was to get established in the US. We especially, right now we're living in Los Angeles, and we love California because of the nature. The typical thing, we live 5 minutes away from the beach, so we can surf. 1 or 2 hours away from the mountain, we can snowboard, beautiful hikes. So the nature here is amazing. We knew that getting the permission, the green card and everything was extremely difficult. And also it's extremely expensive, given that Argentina is extremely cheap in comparison to the world, and also Bali. So we developed a plan. We hired the lawyers, immigration lawyers. I applied for the green card. They got me, I was able to get the most difficult green card. It's called the EB1, person of national interest or something like that. So given my experience in business, I was likely given this green card to be here. And we decided, even Argentina was saying that the airports were closed because they weren't leaving people to travel. We bought a plane ticket in October 2020, and we came here. We emigrated, and we've been living in Redondo Beach, South LA, near the beach, for the past 2.5 years, and we're extremely grateful. Even though there's changes over time in the US, it's really the land of opportunities. I can really see it as an immigrant, as someone that comes from a country that is tough, especially for entrepreneurship. Like it's very difficult to develop a sustainable company in a country with so many macroeconomic and political problems. So developing a company here is like, are you kidding me? Like, I was able to set up this new coaching company in 36 hours. I was able to have the LLC, the EIN, that is the tax number, and the bank account all online with like a couple $100 in 36 hours. I'm like, this could take months if I was able to get it. So we're extremely grateful to be here.
Yeah, I'm really glad you came on today, Nacho, because you have one of the most extreme entrepreneurial stories of struggle, push through, never give up, and now you're reestablishing yourself again. But now it's easy because you've already done it the hard way for so many years.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can really see the difference, and I'm super grateful of all my struggle because it has taught me a lot. And with my new coaching business, I'm able to share that experience to others. Um, but I can really feel the structure here. Like it's like the whole country is conspiring towards your dream and towards your company. While I felt the opposite in my previous country. Like everything was against. Like not everything, of course. That's I know it's a hyperbole, but most of the environment, except of my entrepreneur friends and EO, this entrepreneurs organization that unites us with you, Chad. Most of the environment, the external environment, the macroeconomic factors were conspiring against our our survival. So having the tides, a tide that is convenient and it's helping me. It's like being on the other side of the wave. He's like, oh, this is calm. You know, it's one of this, and last year was one of the worst economic years for the US for sure. 10% inflation. We all know the drill. For me, it's like we got it. You got it. Like we're good. It's just a time in time in a time and time, and it's gonna pass, and all is well. And I really see how things are way easier here. Like and when I talk a lot with American entrepreneurs, I try to bring them awareness on how amazing this country is, especially for doing business. It's very difficult to see it when you don't have an external perspective of how difficult it is in many countries. It's not about Argentina. All many Latin countries, third world countries, it's so difficult. There's so much corruption. You know, the things are just not ready for you. They just not help you to do a business. Everything here is set up for your success. And even when you talk around other entrepreneurs and people about your dreams and goals on your business, everyone's cheering you up and saying like, yeah, I'm going to help you this. I'm going to connect you with some other person. So it's amazing, and I'm trying to bring awareness to not only American entrepreneurs, but almost anyone, any American, to be really grateful about the amazing opportunities and the amazing context. Even when things are not going amazingly well for the country, it's still a great place to develop a business, and you have everything that is in front of you to make your dreams come true. Then you have to execute and move consistently towards your goals. But the setting is there. You have the tools, you have the resources. No matter how much money you have, how much education you have, there's always a real opportunity to thrive, hustle, and create what you want to create. And it's one of the only countries that I've seen that it's not that it's easy, but the resources are so available for you to do it if you want. Then you have to seize it. Of course, you have to take advantage in a good way. You have to put the work. You have to sweat. But it's completely, if you put the work, like you have a huge success probability, huge. That in comparison to many other countries, you never know. You may have to be the best A player, overperformer in order to achieve it. Here, you just gotta put the work. You know, if you put enough work, you will make it. I mean, it's almost granted. So it's really nice.
When you come in with your new coaching business, what does that process look like?
So as you know, we are both part of this entrepreneurs organization. It's called EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. You have to sell more than $1 million per year. So it has a certain size. I co-founded the Argentinian chapter 10 years ago. So I've been with the organization for 10 years. So I had been coaching entrepreneurs for 10 years, but you know that we are a pair. It's a peer-to-peer learning experience. So there's no hierarchy. And I always saw that I really liked coaching other entrepreneurs in our forums. And many entrepreneurs told me like, wow, that coaching was amazing. And I never understood why they were saying this, because in our forums, as you have the experience, we cannot give advice, we cannot give feedback, we cannot indicate anything, we cannot judge. It's just about listening, asking questions, and sharing personal experiences. And they always told me, wow, your coaching session was amazing. And I'm like, I'm just following a script and asking you questions. I didn't even tell you something, but I saw there was something there. I have to be aware of my weaknesses, but also my strengths. And I saw there was something there. So last year, um, I knew I wanted to start. We're in the process of selling Treevotion, this braces company, and I knew I wanted to start a new project. Now that we were here in the U.S. with the green card all set, and I took like 3 or 4 months kind of off to do some meditations and to work on myself, on my mental health, on my physical health. I did a lot of beach walks, trying to settle down to see what do I really wanted to do from heart, so that I could design this new life. I'm engaged, we're gonna get married, we want to have kids, we're established here in the US. So, what life and what structure do I want to create, so that it supports this new life that we are creating. And after talking to some other entrepreneurs, they really inspired me, because I was just talking about, like, what could you do, and then I talk about your life, and they all got really inspired by the talk. I'm like, we were just talking, like, but they got really inspired. So that sparked the interest on seeing what kind of coaching possibilities and courses could I do. And then what I've learned is that, like, coming from Argentina is one of the highest therapy countries in the world. Like, we have one of the highest quantity of therapy, like mental health therapists and people that are taking therapy in the world. Here in the US, I don't know the numbers, and I'm not sure how huge therapy is, but I discovered that the coaching industry is huge. And I love that Americans really trust on having someone that is knowledgeable on anything and hiring him or her as a coach to accelerate your growth. And there's so many coaches. There's a coach for anything. You are doing a podcast. You could even, I think that there's a lot of coaches that can help you accelerate a podcast and teach you how to get more audience up in podcasts. So it's very niche, but there's amazing people that will accelerate your growth in the podcast path. And I was really amazed on how people are so open to find mentors, advisors, consultants, coaches to accelerate that path. So you don't need to figure out this by yourself. And I always thought, man, if I could only coach myself 10 or 15 years ago with my current knowledge, man, my life would have been so much easier. So much easier. I'm really grateful for my experience, because now I can share with others. But damn, my life would have been easier if I could only talk to my past selves like, Nacho, I'm going to tell you something. So that's what inspired me to get out and be in the market and start coaching professionally other entrepreneurs. And nowadays I focus on what I call designing the life that you want in a balanced way. Balance meaning balance in business, in your profession, in your relationships, love, in health and wellness, and in personal development and spirituality. Because I've gone through so many burnouts with my past experiences. For example, my ex-partner and I, we both have tinnitus, the ear ringing, after that terrible year in 2016, when we had to downsize the company completely for 1 year. And that may be with us for forever. I'm hearing right now, so it's pretty mind-fucking somehow. And we have experienced so many burnouts. And as I also say that America is an amazing country, land of opportunities to develop a business, everything set up for your success. I also see that people, especially the entrepreneurs I talk to, are very imbalanced. They may have an amazing, thriving business, but they're going through a divorce. They're not happy with their relationships. They're not happy with the time they're spending with their kids, or even the presence that they have with their kids. Their health is not in check. They don't have time to develop, their hobbies, what they like. They don't take vacations. They don't take time off. They're just not happy with their lives, even though they have an amazing business. So I'm supporting other entrepreneurs to keep thriving in their business, but redesign their lives, the life that they dream of. Because if you guys cannot have the best life in the world with all these resources and all this context that you have created, then what's left for the other 95% of the planet that hasn't got these resources, this environment? So it's amazing because I can, as I told you before, I can. It has an instant gratification for me, because in each session, I always aim for a breakthrough, and it's like a huge knot that they bring. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but I'm so unhappy, I don't know, and suddenly it starts unfolding, and then the breakthrough, and like, oh my God, that's amazing. So it's amazing, to be honest. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, this is perfect for you. You just when you tell your story, I get inspired every time, and I've heard it, because there's so much emotion tied to it, and you feel that it comes through.
Yeah.
And and I love that you're of a similar mindset to me. Like, the business is supposed to support your healthy lifestyle. It's not supposed to take away from it. And we both have went through severe health issues as a result of getting burned out by our businesses.
Yeah.
So we got to pass that forward and make sure others don't make those same mistakes.
Well said.
So, Nacho, if any of our listeners wanted to reach out to you to learn more about your coaching business or you, how could they do so?
Yes. So my website is sunwavecoach.com. My Instagram is at Ignacio Carcavallo. You're going to find this maybe in the video because it's difficult to write. I push content almost every day to inspire others in this journey. And if anyone wants to reach out, they can send me a DM and we can talk and see if there's a potential fit to support them.
That was sunwavecoach.com.
Sunwavecoach.com. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Nacho, for being on the show. And thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of Failing to Success. I'm your host, Chad Kalecki with Cosmic Design and Development. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.